All right, guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. I roll these portfolio reviews out for you guys to show you the many benefits of, in this case, M1 Finance platform. We're going to be jumping into my aggressive growth portfolio. It's a newly established portfolio, 12 picks. This is a real $5,000 investment in this portfolio. We're going to track through the 12 in the portfolio. Please keep in mind the Independent Investor Channel is affiliated with M1 Finance. If you do opt for their services and find that their accounts will be just as good for you as they are for me, the benefits are awesome. The channel can receive a small compensation for you opting for their services, and it helps us support and put out more videos like the one that you're watching now. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to jump into the portfolio review, and we're going to comb through this newly established portfolio. We're going to roll that out. We're going to discuss some of the benefits and reasons why I'm using the strategic opportunity within M1 Finance to seek my exposure to these 12 growth names. Guys, enjoy the review. Allow me to seek out some exposure in some of the higher growth categories that I typically wouldn't like to own in my retirement accounts. These can carry with it a significant amount of risk. I've built this portfolio to basically introduce those 12 stocks that I wanted access to, that I felt like were much more on the hyper growth level rather than the typical dividend passive ETF approach. Furthermore, I wanted to use the M1 Finance platform to allow any fundings that go into this to basically fund the lowest holding. And I'm doing that currently in both of my M1 Finance portfolio accounts. This is the second one that I've opened. I did that strategically for a reason, that of which I will talk about on future videos with regard to the different style of investing that I'm doing in each of these accounts. They're drastically different. I have goals set up for each of these. One in this portfolio I've mentioned, the reinvestment I really like, which is just an awesome feature and is unmatched from any other platform out there available on the market. So any dollars that go into this portfolio, the way that I've built it, is going to seek to capture the lowest percentage of target allocation. So if, for example, Tesla underperforms or Booking Holding underperforms, any fundings that go into this account are going to go to the lowest holding. I just think that's an awesome way to seek out some exposure in some of these stocks. Now, I will premise this portfolio review. This is not something that I would ever start with. If I was a starting investor, I've already went through the deliberation of establishing some very good baseline in the account. So this 5,000, or in my total portfolio, so the 5,000 in this really represents what I consider to be a cherry on top. There will be no further aggressive investing, but I felt like relative to the size of the total overall portfolio, it was time to use the opportunity with M1 Finance, not only with the portfolio redistribution of funds, which I really think is an amazing benefit. I'll talk about that more when I do the sector spider review. The sectors that I've got a portfolio also built with M1 Finance that's performing absolutely fantastic. It's really performing well because every single dividend that's paid in that is going to the underlying portfolio. Unlike that account, this account we will be seeking capital appreciation. That is it. We are going for over than average or performance out of these stocks. Now, you can see here the 12 that I've got. I'm not going to do a deep dive. I mentioned this on the live stream, but I'm rolling this out for the rest of the subscriber base so they can see how I've used M1 Finance to provide myself this passive but higher growth exposure to the stock market. Again, these are 12 names that I just don't want to own in my retirement account. I want to keep those separate. I want to keep those dividend payers and high quality ETFs in there. Not to say that these aren't high quality companies, but they just carry a significant more risk. So for example, if you get under performance in one of these names, it's really going to be a drag on the portfolio, and I would rather have all of these growth names housed in its own account to where they can do what it is that they're going to do. Now, mind you, using M1 Finance in this passive strategy is going to help me keep my hands off of these names. I really do want to be long on these names. I don't think that they're going anywhere. I've already taken a little bit of criticism over the portfolio. As I expect to get more, that's totally fine. Because most people who have followed me know my criticisms of Tesla. There's been a little bit coming through about my seeking out some opportunity in Uber. To be quite honest with you, the most worry in this portfolio is with Netflix. There's no doubt about it. I'm not worried about any of the 12 picks outside of Netflix, but it fit well in this portfolio. It allowed me to use M1 Finance for the second strategic benefit that I'll mention now. If we actually go in here to the holdings, this is the best way to demonstrate actually how we're using M1 Finance. So this right here, there's a couple major brokers that are doing this now with the partial shares, but this is pretty amazing. So I now own just over, well, probably, three tenths of a share. So going on a fourth of a share of Amazon, same thing, almost a half a share of Google, 2.6. So we're using partial shares. Look at that. We've got 2/10 of a share of Booking Holding at 350, and then not even a share of Tesla here at 7/10. So really interesting way of using M1 Finance to seek out this exposure. So I don't want people to look at this and say, you're crazy, Ryan, you're investing in Tesla. Hold on a second. I control my level of exposure here based on the actual dollars that I have devoted to any one of these names, quite frankly. Even at Amazon as high a PE, and there's completely different metrics to use on these guys. There's really no fundamental rationalization you can go through or deliberation to justify buying these names, except for they're great companies. Now, outside of Google, Facebook, Alibaba, Adobe Systems, the rest of these are trading at pretty rich multiples, to be honest with you. So the inherent risk that I acknowledge in this portfolio is buffered by the fact that I was willing to enter into these names at a fairly low entry. So we'll continue to build these up over time, but I thought you guys would appreciate me rolling out this portfolio for you guys, showing you what we've got. I mean, these stocks are going to be volatile, and we'll track it going forward. You don't need to paper trade. You can follow me and follow this portfolio. I will share this pie. This is the initial rollout of the aggressive growth. I will share this, of course, in the description and in the comments section. But absolutely generate some comments. I would just say this. Please understand what I'm trying to do here, what opportunities I'm trying to lever within M1 Finance, because it's a very unique way of investing in higher growth by building a portfolio of 12 names like this and using the partial share opportunity within M1 Finance, where you just don't have that kind of opportunity. Again, some of the major brokers are rolling this service out, and I think most of them eventually will, but until then, we're going to continue to use M1 Finance and use it for all of its unique benefits to investors. I can fund this account when I want and how often I want. I have this set up on $25 a month. That's fine. So that'll go in to fund this account slowly over time. And like I mentioned, it is passive in nature. So I'm not going to be able to be doing a lot of selling. I'm not going to be able to be rendering a lot of profit within M1 Finance. My goal on this is to become super, super passive and allow these good quality companies to make me that capital appreciation that I'm seeking with regard to this portfolio and the way that I've built it. So guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate. I'll kick you back into YouTube now. All right, guys, so we've come back out of the M1 portfolio review for the aggressive growth. The real takeaways here is to understand why I'm investing in these higher growth names using M1 Finance. These are long positions. I've always contended that M1 Finance is really conducive to those investors out there who are looking to put their money away and leave it for the long term. So this is a real interesting way of entering into aggressive growth without the temptation of wanting to trade in and out of them. These positions are long. I'm using the partial shares that you can own in a big name like an Amazon or a Google to start and establish the position to go from a non-shareholder in Amazon to an actual shareholder in Amazon. So it's a super cool way of seeking exposure. If you don't have a lot of capital to invest in these companies, it's a great way to get exposure to these companies by using the partial shares. And finally, the portfolio investment. It's a super great benefit of M1 Finance. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck in your investment future.